Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's morning yoga flow, we'll be doing a sequence of poses designed for full body stretching, which is made for beginners, as well as some extra poses in between, just to give those yogis who wish to go a little bit more deeper into their practice. For this session, you might need a block, but it's not absolutely necessary, or anything just to help you give a little bit of more elevation when needed. So to begin, we're going to start off at the top of our mat in a standing position. Feet slightly apart, hands by our sides, as we take a few deep breaths and settle in. On our first inhale, we're going to lift our hands up, placing our palms together. And then as we exhale, we're going to fold forward, inhaling to go for a halfway lift, before exhaling to come back down to a plank position, holding for an inhale. And as we exhale, can either keep our legs straight or bend our knees as we go, lower our whole entire bodies up, down, untucking our toes as we inhale to either lift our upper chest and hands off the mat before placing it back down, pushing back into a downward facing dog, holding for an inhale, and then exhaling, walking our feet forward back into another forward fold before inhaling for halfway lift. Exhaling to fall back down before finally inhaling to slowly roll our whole bodies up, reaching our hands up high as they can go before bringing them down to heart center. That was one round of sun salutations A. We're going to go through two more, maybe a little bit faster this time. Inhaling to reach up, exhaling to fold forward, inhale to go for halfway lift, exhale to go down to plank, inhale to hold, exhale to go down, chaturanga, keeping your legs straight this time. Inhale to push up, either into a cobra or maybe even an up dog. And before exhaling, go pushing back into downward facing dog. Holding for inhale. Then exhaling, walking our feet forward to a forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. For inhaling to go and back up straight, reaching as high as you can. And before exhaling, bring our hands back down to heart center. Going for one more round. Inhale to go up. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to plank. Inhale to hold. Exhale to lower. Inhale to back bend. Exhale to push back into down dog. Inhale as we hold. Exhale to walk forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold forward. And inhale to stand back up. Reaching up. And exhale to bring our hands back down to center. Moving on, we're going to place our hands back down onto the mat. Get into a nice plank position. Rolling our bodies forward and backwards. Before finally lifting our hips up and pushing back into a downward facing dog. From here, you can maybe just walk your dog out a little bit, bending one knee and then the other, focusing on keeping your head nice and loose before we move on. Meeting me back in stillness. We're going to start by lifting our left leg up as high as we can for a three-legged dog. Inhaling before we exhale, bringing our foot between our hands, placing our back knee down, lifting our hands up for a low crescent lunge. Before finally placing our right hand down, left hand reaching up for an easy twist. Holding for a breath. Before finally, you can lift your whole body up, bending your back knee and grabbing onto your back foot. Here you can use your block just to give yourself a little bit of a stabilized balance with your grounded hand. Making sure to really pull back your shoulder, maybe even look over your left shoulder if you want. Holding for a breath. For finally releasing your foot, placing both hands back down on the mat, kicking back into a plank, exhaling to go down, inhale to go for your back bend of choice, before exhaling to push back into downward facing dog. Moving on to the other side, lifting your right leg up as you inhale, exhale to bring it forward, placing your back knee down for another low lunge, lifting your arms up as high as you can, making sure your front knee and heel are in line with each other. For finally grounding your left hand, reaching your right hand up as high as you can go. Hold it for a breath before finally pushing your whole upper body up, grabbing your block if needed, and then grabbing your back foot with your right hand. Pulling back for a nice crooked monkey. Releasing everything, placing both hands back around on the mat, kicking back into a high plank, exhaling to lower, inhale to either go for cobra or up dog, and before exhaling to push back into downward facing dog. Starting on the left side again, lifting the left leg up for a three-legged dog, exhale to place for another low lunge, reaching up as high as you can, either keeping your back toe tucked or untucked, that's up to you. From here, you can bring your hands down, twisting your back foot to your right side, placing your left foot in the back for an assisted side plank. And if you're feeling upward, maybe you can even bring your foot together for a full side plank. Holding for a breath, before finally grounding your right foot, placing your left foot down and throwing your back up and throwing your hand over for a wall thing. Finally bring both hands back down to the mat, feet together for a plank, exhale to come down, inhale to come back up, before finally exhaling to push back into your down dog. Moving on to the other side, right leg going up, right leg between the hands, pushing up into a high, low crescent lunge. From here now, practice taking your left foot out, left hand to the mat, right foot out for an assisted side plank. And if you did it on the other side, you maybe can try it again on this side or full side plank. Holding for a breath. For finally grounding your right foot, placing your foot down and throwing your hips up and hand over for your wild thing. Bring your hands back down, pushing back into a plank, going for your last vinyasa. Exhaling to drop, inhale to push up, before exhaling to come back into your down dog. From here, we can now walk our feet forwards to the front of our hands as we just hold for a nice forward fold, letting our body sway, maybe even grabbing the sides of your elbows for a nice little ragdoll. Keeping a small bend in your knees as you just let your whole entire body hang. When you're ready, you can release your hands, let them hang down. Then inhale for a halfway lift, focusing on keeping your back nice and straight before exhaling to fold forward once more, grabbing the back of your legs and maybe pulling your body slightly closer to your knees. Releasing, you're going to slowly now roll your body up, keeping your chin tucked to your chest as you roll one vertebra at a time. For finally coming up, lifting your chin up, maybe even rolling your shoulders back for Tadasana, mountain pose. Holding as you feel yourself grounded to the earth, palms facing forward. Or finally placing your hand on the back of small of your back, fingers facing down. Bend your knees slightly and push your hips forward, letting your head hang back for a nice relaxing back bend. Or finally folding your whole upper body down again for another forward fold. Moving on to chair pose, for those who are still new to yoga, they can maybe bring your toes slightly closer together. If you feel comfortable, you can keep them maybe 2 fists apart. If we throw our hands back before finally throwing them up, lowering our hips as if we're sitting down on a chair, bringing our hands forward and together into heart center. And from here, if you want, you can maybe even go into a little bit of a flying chair, lifting your heels, balancing on your toes. Holding for a breath. Before finally straightening your legs and coming back down to your last forward fold. Well, finally, we can move on, going onto our backs. Lying flat on our back, legs straight out in front of us. Lifting our legs up, keeping them as straight as possible for a waterfall pose. And from here, we can just sway our legs left and right. Maybe lifting one hip up and one hip, keeping one hip grounded, and going back and forth like a little clock. From here, we're going to bring our legs back into neutral position, still up in front of us. Lifting our hands up, we're going to go through 3 rounds of crunches of 5, 5, and then 10. So when you're ready, you're going to take a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to push your whole upper body up, and you're going to go through some pulses, going up and down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back down. Finally, keep your legs up where you can. Before finally coming back up for another round of 5. Inhale. Exhaling for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Getting ready for our last round, going for 10 this time. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, go up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax your whole body down. Just letting everything completely relax as you catch your breath. Moving on to the last segment of the practice. We're going to bring our legs up again as we just did before, but this time we're going to try and throw them over. We're lifting our hips up for a plow pose. Maybe laying your hand out, or you can place it on your lower back for some extra support. Keeping your hips straight, your legs straight, and bringing your hips as far forward as you can. Making sure your chin is nice and tucked into your chest. Holding for a breath. And for those yogis who it's in your practice, you can maybe even try and lift your hips up, lifting your legs high for shoulder stand. Try and focus on keeping your feet, hips, and shoulders all in one line. Remember to breathe, making sure your body isn't feeling constricted. Holding for one last breath. Before finally lowering down, starting from your top of your spine, going down one vertebra at a time, before finding your hips, legs, and feet. And then finally just relax on our mats. Parshavasana. Letting our feet just flop down to the sides. Bring our palms either face up or down, which feels most comfortable. Maybe even laying our heads from one side or the other, whichever you wish. Just feel our chest expand and contract with each inhale and exhale. Gently coming back into focus. You focus on your breath, bringing the air go through your nostrils, filling up your lungs, or feeling it just exhale out of your mouth as you sigh it out. Slowly bring some movement back into your body, wiggling your fingers and your toes. Maybe even swing your feet from side to side, moving arms and legs. From here, you can maybe even reach up your hands above your head, giving a nice stretch like you're waking up in the morning. And then still keeping your eyes closed, you can come up into a comfortable seated position, or you can stay down on your back, sitting cross-legged or on your shins, whichever is most comfortable. Place our hands together at heart center, taking a deep breath in together before finally bowing as we end our practice. I'd just like to say thank you for coming and joining me for today's practice. I really hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you guys on the yoga mats next time.